Thanks for joining us today online at the Met. Here at the Met, we're all about connecting people to God and one another. If you have any questions or want to get more information about what's going on here at the Met, then head to our website at metchurch.com. We love to stay connected with you throughout the week through social media, so be sure to connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Today, our senior pastor, Bill Ramsey, will be giving a message on our series, Expand.
We are the light of the world. We are the city on a hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine. We are the light of the world. We are the city on a hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine.
Matthew 5:14-16 says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do the people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." We're here this morning to praise the one who gives us all light so that we can go out and shine the light. So let's lift up as we sing to the one who provides us light every day.
Every secret, every shame, every fear, every pain, live inside the dark, but that's not who we are. We are children of the day. Let your glory fill this place. We're alive in your presence. As we surrender all to you, do what you want to, do what you want to. God, we love to see you move. Do what you want to, do what you want. Do what you want to. We are standing in your light, and our hearts are wide. Let us see more than before. Lord, come have your way here. Yeah, we surrender all to you. Do what you want to, do what you want to. God, we love to see you move. Do what you want to, do what you want to. Yeah, have your way here in our hearts, in our lives, in this place. Oh, have your way. All-consuming fire, fall on us. All-consuming fire, fall on us. Sing that out. All-consuming fire, fall on us. All-consuming fire, we surrender all to you. Do what you want to, do what you want to. God, we love to see you move. Do what you want to, do what you want. We surrender all to you. Do what you want to, do what you want to. God, we love to see you move. Do what you want to, do what you want to. All-consuming fire, fall on us. 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 Amen. Well, good morning. If you would turn to someone around you, give them a high five and introduce yourself. Then we want to invite you to continue in worship with us.
Take all I have in these hands and multiply, God, all that I am, and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire, set me on fire. Oh, take all I have in these hands and multiply, God, all that I am, and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire, set me on fire. Here I am, God, arms wide open. all to Jesus now, holding nothing back, holding nothing back. I surrender, I surrender, yeah. I surrender, I surrender. Here I am, God, with my arms wide open, pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Here I am, God, with my arms wide open, pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Your power and work in me. I'm broken gracefully. I'm strong when I am weak. I will be free. Your power and work in me. I'm broken gracefully. I'm strong when I am weak. I will be free. Your power and work in me. I'm broken gracefully. I'm strong when I am weak. I will be free. Your power and work in me. I'm broken gracefully. I'm strong when I am weak. I will be free. Your power and work in me. I'm broken gracefully. I'm strong when I am weak. I will be free. Your power and work in me. I'm broken gracefully. I'm strong when I am weak. I will be free. Here I am, God, arms wide open, pouring out my life, gracefully broken. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're a living hope. Your presence, I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. In your presence, Lord, Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome. When the ground beneath my feet gives way and I hear the sound of crashing waves and all my world is washing out to sea, I'm hidden safe in the God who never moves, holding fast to the promise of the truth. You are holding tighter still to me. And the rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock of our salvation. Hope is in the promise of your blood, my support within the raging flood. Even in the tempest I can sing, hidden safe in the God who never moves, holding fast to the promise of the truth. You are holding tighter still to me, yeah. And the rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock of our salvation. Oh, 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 the rock of our salvation. Christ the solid rock, I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. The rock won't move. No, the rock won't move. And when darkness seems to hide its face, I rest on his unchanging grace. The rock won't move. No, the rock won't move. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. The rock won't move. No, the rock won't move. And when darkness seems to hide its face, I rest on his unchanging grace. The rock won't move. No, the rock won't move. The rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock won't move and his word is strong. The rock won't move and his love can't be undone. The rock of our salvation. Oh, the rock of our salvation. Dear Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the fact that you are our rock. You are the one we can stand on through all adversity, through all of our trying circumstances, through all of our obstacles, that you are always there. that your love is always there. Your love that's unconditional. Your love that's unchanging. And your love that is always there to give us just what we need, just when we need it. God, help us to rest in who you are. No matter what we face, no matter what we go through, help us to trust you, that you will see us through all things. And God, this morning, just open up our hearts and minds to the words that you have for us, words that show how to live out that love, how to give back that love, how to shine that love. Because God, we want to make a difference in this world. We want to make a difference for you. And we know that when we follow in your ways and trust in your ways and do as you called us to do, we can see a change. And God, that's what we want. We want to leave this place changed so that we can change the world. Change the world and show them who you are. God, we thank you for always being there for us. And Lord, now as we continue to worship you through the giving of our tithes and offerings, God, we just pray that you see our hearts and you see that we're joyful givers and we give back in love and obedience to you. And God, we do ask that you would place your hand on this offering, that you would bless it for us as a church to continue to do more and more ministry, bringing more and more people into your kingdom, because God, that's what it's all about, is bringing people to you, shining our light for you. God, we love you, we praise you, and we thank you. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated. Right now, our ushers are getting ready to come forward to receive this morning's tithes and offerings. But first, we want you to take a look at what's happening here at the Met.
Hi, my name is Amber, and this is your Met 5. Here at the Met, we want to help all of our guests become family. Are you ready to take the next step in your faith journey? Or maybe you want to be baptized and have a few questions. Well, join us at our next Faith and Baptism class, held on May 6th during the 11 o'clock service in Classroom C. This is the perfect opportunity for you to meet some of our staff and let us help you grow in your faith. You can register online or at the Community Life Counter in the lobby. The week of June 11th through 15th, your current K through 4th grader will have the opportunity to be a part of one of the best weeks of the year in Met Kids. At Wow Week, your child will interact with God and one another in a variety of fun and focused activities. Visit the booth out in the lobby if your child has previously registered or you registered them online, because they are now eligible to spin the prize wheel to win some really cool things. On May 18th and 19th, join us at the Met for the Pink Impact Simulcast. This is where you'll discover relevant content designed to challenge every mother, daughter, grandmother, sister, and friend to pursue the dreams God's placed in her heart. You'll experience powerful worship and inspiring messages from speakers like Priscilla Schreier, Christine Kane, Lisa Harper, and others. You'll leave knowing that you are poised by God to make an impact in your world. Registration is available online or at the Community Life Counter. In May of 2019, experience a trip of a lifetime. We'll be traveling to the Holy Land to walk where Jesus walked. This is a 10-day study tour led by Al and Elaine Burton, and you'll be able to encounter God's Word like never before as the Scriptures come alive before your eyes. For more information, visit metchurch.com/Israel. This weekend, we held our annual Run for Uganda. Thank you to our 300 runners, volunteers, and race sponsors who supported this great event. It's because of you all that we were able to reach our fundraising goal to help us complete the projects we're working on at the God Cares School and Orphanage. For all the details and information or to register for any of our events, you can always visit our website at metchurch.com or visit the Community Life Counter in the lobby. Thanks again for watching. I'm Amber, and this was your Met 5.
What you gonna do with a 36 cent sticky with Coke on your floorboard when a woman on the street is huddled in the cold on the sidewalk bench trying to keep warm? Do you call her over, hand her the change, ask her her story, ask her her name, or do you tell yourself just a fool to believe you can change the world. You're just a fool to believe you can change the world. What you gonna do when you're watching TV and an ad comes on? Yeah, you know the kind. Flashing up pictures of a child in need. For a dime a day, you can save a life. Do you call the number, reach out a hand? Do you change the channel, call it a scam? Or do you tell yourself you're just a fool to believe you can change the world? Don't listen to them when they say you're just a fool to believe you can change the world. Oh, the smallest thing can make all the difference. Love is in life. Don't listen to them when they say you're just a fool to believe you can change the world. When the world's so big it can break your heart, and you just wanna help, not sure where to start, so you close your eyes, send up a prayer into the dark. You're just a fool to believe you can change the world. Don't listen to them when they say you're just a fool to believe you can change the world. Oh, the smallest thing can make all the difference. Love is in life. Don't you listen to them when they say just a fool to believe you can change the
How we doing? Oh, no. We've got people watching live. I will welcome everybody who's watching us online as well. How are we doing? Yes. We are in a series called Expand, and what we've been talking about is how to expand your life, how to get the most out of your life. And what you need to understand is getting the most out of your life has nothing to do with how much stuff you get in life. Getting the most out of your life has nothing to do with how much stuff you accumulate through your life. There's no truth to that saying that whoever dies with the most toys wins, okay? There's no truth with that. Whoever dies with the most toys is dead, okay? I mean, have you ever seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul? I mean, have you? Okay. It ain't happening. You're not taking anything with you. But what we see is we've got businesses and advertisers that spend millions and millions and millions of dollars trying to convince us, and unless we're driving the right car and wearing the right clothes and living in the right neighborhood, that we're not getting the most out of life. And unfortunately, it's left so many people being dissatisfied and discontent with their life. And so today I want to talk about how to be content in life, how to be satisfied in life. And all starts with us following what Jesus said when he said it's more blessed to give than receive. I want you to take a look at this video, and then I'm going to come back and finish our talk. So you just watch this. Hi, I'm here with Caroline Holzberger. She is our outreach director here at the Met, and she oversees one of the biggest kept secrets here of one of the biggest ministries we do at the church. And that's our food pantry and outreach department. Why don't you tell us a little bit of how all this happens and how you got this started?
Well, it's amazing. God has done an amazing work here at the Met. And it all began before me when just one or two of our staff members decided that they were going to be obedient they knew of some families in need, and they decided to go on their own time to the grocery store and just see if they could get some bread and donations for them. And it grew. A couple, 20, 30 families started coming once a month. And that was 5 years ago.
Wow.
And when I came on staff 3 years ago, the food pantry was running still once a month. And we had, probably 50 to 75 families coming. It was pretty amazing. And then the next year, we decided to go twice a month, and they still kept coming. And then last year, we decided we can do this every week. So now we have over about 130, 150 families coming to our church every single weekend to get food, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, when you started talking about all of the food and how we're actually helping these people now every single week, it really kind of changed the way we thought about benevolence here at the church. And I remember the conversation. For those of you who might not understand, we have a benevolence budget here at the church where we help those in need that come to us and say, they need money for a light bill or a water bill or something that they're behind on. And so we give to people to help them, be able to stay in their homes. And when we were talking to you, you were talking that same money that we spend to help one individual can help a mass group of people.
Absolutely. So to put it in a concrete form, what we figured out is that in helping somebody, we could pay for their $150 light bill, which we were always happy to do. We want to help people out. But at the same time, with our relationship with the Tarrant Area Food Bank, we spend pennies on the dollar. So $150, instead of paying for one light bill, could buy enough food for 150 families because of all the donations and because of the pennies on the dollar that we spend. So we found our God math came in, and God took what we had and multiplied it. So instead of just paying one light bill, we were able to alleviate $150 from 150 families' budget so that they could all have that money to help with their light bills. And so it was just amazing to see how God took that obedience and literally multiplied it by the hundreds.
And we've seen it happen because stats show that the average family of four spends about $800 a month on food. And so what we've tried to do with these 150 families and anybody who comes to us needing any benevolence, we send them there because what we're doing is literally putting $800 back in your pocket.
Every month.
Every single month.
Yep.
And we're seeing life change because of that.
Absolutely. We have seen single moms be able to change their budgets, get into different apartments, and qualify for better things. We've seen parents be able to take a risk and take a different job because they've been able to save some money. We've seen it really impact some families in an amazing way.
I don't think people understand just what goes to make this happen. I mean, the youth room is totally transformed.
So we absolutely could not do this without our volunteers. It is amazing. We probably have a group of probably about 40 people who come every week faithfully, and they come on Thursday. So they come Thursdays, and we get a truck of food, so probably 4, 5, 6 pallets, and they unload it and set it up, and they set it up just like a grocery store. So we've got about 20 tables that we set up in the youth room, and they unload what we get on Thursday. And then we come back on Friday, and we get another 2 truckloads of food. And so we set it all up like a grocery store so that when our recipients come on Saturday, they get their grocery cart, and they get to go and shop, pick what they want. We let them know how many of each thing that they can have. If they have a big family, they get more, and then they get to leave. And this is good quality stuff, Rob. I mean, there are people, we've had volunteers say, wow, this is really good. I want to shop here because we've got partnerships with Costco and Sam's and Walmart, and we've got name brand stuff. And they get to start with like their pantry items, like soups and stew and macaroni and cereals and stuff, baby food, stuff like that for families. And then they get to move on to the fresh produce and vegetables. Yes. And then they get to move on to the breads and the pastries, and then they end with our frozen section, which is a lot of times yogurt and eggs and fresh, all of this frozen meat that is good quality stuff. So they are leaving literally with sometimes more than, but an overflowing grocery cart full of food. So.
That's great stuff. I remember you talking about this, that when the Tarrant area came out to see what they were so impressed that they actually stopped us having to go to them to get the food, and they started sending it here.
They've been renovating their whole building downtown, and so they have made it so easy for us. They just say, y'all have grown so much, we're just gonna bring you the food. Can we bring you more food? And we're like, yes, you can. Can we bring it? Yes, you can. So now we get 2 truckloads from them, and we order some, like I said, for pennies on the dollar. And what we end up with is a youth room full of food.
And what I'm so impressed about when I've served there is that the people are so appreciative of it, but they don't even hoard it. I'll go through with people and they'll go, oh no, I still have some of this, I still have some of that, and they'll go past. They're just actually getting what they need.
Yeah,
I mean,
or my kids won't eat that, or we don't like that, but, and, you know, and we'll be like, well, do you need peanut butter? I got it last week. Okay, great, you know. And they are so respectful and kind. In fact, so much so that they see what we have with our volunteers. We've had so many recipients who are like, can I come volunteer after I get my food? I don't go to your church necessarily. I don't go to any church, but I see something different with you and your volunteers, and I want to be a part of this.
You told me a great story about that. Why don't you share that with everybody?
There was a precious lady who came to our food pantry, and she was a recipient, and she got in line, and it just so happened that when she got to the end of the line, well, she had been walked by one of our favorite little volunteers, Mr. Tom, who will probably kill me for talking about him on camera, but Mr. Tom is in his 70s. I'm going to say early 70s. He's retired, and he has such a heart for people. He got to know this sweet lady, walked her through line, but he could tell something was different. She was really having a hard day. And so he asked if he could pray with her, and she starts crying. And she starts telling about how hard it has been, the single mom, and she's just been so distraught, and she was so grateful for him to pray for her. And he was like, well, I want to see you next week. You come find me when you come. So sure enough, she did. She got there the next week, waved at him, and he prayed with her again, and she was just so grateful and hugged him, and he knew her by name. And so a couple weeks later at church, Pastor Mary said that a lady came up to her here on Sunday morning and said, I'm looking for a man named Mr. Tom. That's the only thing I know about him. He's at the food pantry, and I just wanted to tell him that this has been one of the hardest months of my life. And I got to the point where I was so down and depressed that I just thought about ending my life. I thought about how I couldn't possibly get out of this situation. My kids were better off without me. But Mr. Tom knew me by name. He loved me. He cried with me. He prayed with me. And he's shown me God's love this last month. And I just wanted to thank him. And Mr. Tom had already been at the service earlier that week, but when I told him about it at the next food pantry, he started crying. And that is the kind of life change that's happening.
Yeah, I think that's what people need to realize, that this ministry is so much more than food.
Absolutely.
It is changing lives. In fact, it became so much more than food this past summer because it went beyond food when Hurricane Harvey hit.
Absolutely. I know all of us in Texas were so shocked and saddened about when Hurricane Harvey hit, seeing all the footage of what was happening just a few hours south of us, thinking that could be us. Well, there were a few guys at our church who, they had to do something about it. They were like, we've got to go help. And so they rallied up some guys, and they went down to help in August twice, and they went in September again, and they were completely helping to rebuild homes and to get people, you know, their lives back on their feet. But, you know, a lot of churches, a lot of organizations did that in August and September, but come October and November, FEMA left, and there were still thousands of families without homes. And so our guys were like, absolutely not. We're connected. We are in this. And just to let you know, these are business executives. These are business owners. These are people who work 60 and 70 hours a week, and they still, every month, were going down, and they were helping rebuild lives. A couple of the stories I have to tell you, Rob. One, the first house that we rebuilt was a single mom who had 6 kids. And I mean, 6 kids, right there, she wins a prize. But she had nothing. The hurricane took everything from them. And she wasn't able to get help, and FEMA and all of the organizations that were trying to do so good, the lines were so long. The list was unending. And so she didn't have plumbing, and CPS actually was called in by the school counselor because her children were going to the bathroom in the backyard because they didn't have any other option. And they were going to school unclean, and they were going to be taken away from her. And so our guys came in, they loved on them, they prayed with them, they rebuilt that house, refurnished it, got them back in their house, and she didn't lose her kids. It was unbelievable.
That's greatness.
And then the second house that we've been working on, a lady named Linda, and when they met her at first, she seemed just a little bit more distraught and saddened. And when they got talking to her, they found out her husband died 1 week before the hurricane. So now she was a single mom all of a sudden with an autistic child. So as if that's not hard enough, the death of your spouse and having a special needs child, but now she had no home. So our guys really rallied around her, and they became friends with her, and they texted her, and they kept in touch with her during our in-between times whenever we would go. And one time we took her to church down there to try and get her connected with a family of believers. And they're almost done with Linda's house. Oh, wow. And they've made it so special for her daughter to help that transition back into a normal life, as they are still without a dad and without a husband, but now they're almost completely back to normal, having a home.
That's
so
great.
It's been amazing.
Now you're expanding that to not just South Texas now, you're bringing it up here to North
Absolutely.
Texas.
We have seen the impact that this has had not only on these families, but on these guys who have volunteered, the community, the camaraderie. These gentlemen, these strong, tough, executive men can't talk about this without crying. Yeah. And we're like, you know what? God's called us to expand this here too. So we're going to have a community relief event in June, second week in June, and we've got 4 or 5 houses of people, of our MET members and MET Iglesia members, who just need a little help. And they need some help with the same kind of stuff we've been doing down in South Texas. So we're going to now have a North Texas team. Awesome. So if people can't travel, we understand that. So after June, we'll have our big event. We really need volunteers for that. But after June, every month after that, we're going to have a group here that can help in our community and a group in South Texas. So we've committed to continue to help down there, and we have seen the impact it's had, and we want to do that in our local community as well. So we'd love people to be a part of that.
It's great. You know, this is all possible because of you, the MET, the people who attend the MET and call the MET the home. It's through your tithes and offerings that we can do things like this. But we also knew that we wanted to expand this even further, and so we started a separate nonprofit called Help Out, and the Help Out Center. And it was so that we could actually start exploring to get businesses involved that wouldn't normally give to churches. They could give to this Help Out Center. And I think one of the biggest needs that we've talked about just when you go and see this is we need more space.
Absolutely.
We can't do everything we want to do because you're reaching about probably 1,000 kids right now, families that have about 1,000 kids, and you were talking about the goal for us is to do that 10 times.
Absolutely. We actually did some research and found that within 10-mile radius of our church, we have about 10,000 kids on the free and reduced lunch program. And the free and reduced lunch program already qualifies people that they don't make enough money to be able to provide that. So we already know they meet those standards that the state provides. And so we want to help them as well. And our goal, what would be amazing if we could build this Help Out Center, we would love to provide a safe place for those kids to come after school. We'd love to provide help with the adults. Maybe they've got to go back to school and finish their degree or finish high school or something like that. They need help getting jobs and interviews and all of that. And also all of the handyman work, people don't know what to do. They can't afford to have stuff fixed. We want to be able to come alongside, partner with them, get to know them, and help them out of that current situation that they're in. And so many times we've seen they've come back and helped us again. They want to continue it and pay it forward. And that is our goal, to truly change and impact our community for the better.
This ministry has impacted so many people, and it's changing so many lives. And we thought we'd give you a little sneak peek of just one of those lives that has changed because of what we're doing here with the outreach at the Met. Take a look.
My name is Disho Balancifan. I'm a mother to 3 children, and this is my food pantry testimony. Back in 2015, I'd been coming to the Met Church for a few weeks, and I kept hearing advertisement for the food pantry, so I decided to check it out. When I first walked in, I was blown away because it was not what I expected at all. Most people, when they think of a food pantry, they think of receiving rice and beans, maybe some soup, but when you walk into the food pantry at the Met, you get a grocery buggy full of food. It's like you're going to the store and going grocery shopping for yourself. The buggies were filled with soup, rice, beans, but they also had frozen meat, fresh fruit and vegetables, bread, cakes, juice, cereal, baby food, you name it, there's something that you can choose from that you could use. When the recipients get there, they check in, and when it's their turn to walk through, they have a volunteer that stays with them the whole entire process of walking through, picking out their food, and then at the very end, there's a prayer partner that will pray with them over whatever need they have, and then the person with them walks them all the way out to their car, helps them load the groceries in their car. All the volunteers, they really take time to get to know the recipients coming through. A lot of them can sit there and have a conversation with the recipient and know who's at home, personal things going on in their lives, and what they can pray for them or help them out with too, besides receiving the food. 3 years later, I still get to be a part of the food pantry, only now I volunteer and serve instead of receive. When I first came to the Met 3 years ago, I was at a dark place in my life. To be able to receive groceries from the food pantry every week helped relieve some money to be able to pay the bills so I didn't have to choose between feeding my kids or getting the electricity shut off or losing the house altogether. At a time I needed Jesus most, the food pantry and the Met Church stepped in and really helped. Now that my situation is better, I still love to volunteer whenever I can, and my kids love to serve probably more than I do. They've experienced firsthand the impact the food pantry has had on our lives, and they love to give back and show Christ to others. Thank you, Met Church and Food Pantry, for not only being there for me when I needed it the most, but also giving me the opportunity to show Christ to others.
I just, first of all, want to thank Deshelle for sharing her story with us. I mean, after I watched this, I think all I need to do is come out here and pray and we can go home, because I can't give a better message than that. She's got a powerful, powerful testimony, and her story is what the Met and the Help Out Center is all about. It's about helping people in their circumstance to help them get out of their circumstance. And since we started the church and since we started the food pantry and our relief team, we see so many stories just like that. And I just want to thank all of you who serve as a part of our church. Y'all are amazing people that make ministry happen. Do you realize that it takes over 400 people every single week to pull off all the ministry that we do? We could not do what we do without you, and we thank you so much. Right now, you've got people that are pouring into your kids. You've got people that are pouring into your middle schoolers. Tonight, you're going to have people that are going to be pouring into your high schoolers. The reason why you feel so welcome and at home when you walk into this place is because of the fact that the people who serve on our connections team, our parkers, our greeters, our ushers, our hospitality team. The reason why we can pull off these services is because the people who volunteer and give up their time to be a part of the worship team and the tech team, not just in here, but in Met Kids and in Met Youth as well. Amazing, amazing. The reason why we get more connected and we grow in our relationship with God is because of the men and women who step up and they lead our groups. They lead our small groups, our Bible groups, our life groups, our rooted groups. Y'all are doing amazing stuff. And the reason why we get outside of the walls and we reach into our community and into our world is because of all of you that serve in our food pantry and our relief team and our other mission teams. Thank you so much for what you do. This is why ministry happens, and I just want to give you all a round of applause for that. Amazing, amazing, amazing. If you talk to any of these people, they're going to all tell you the same thing. They're all going to say the same thing. I get so much more out of serving than I ever give. I receive so much more when I serve than I ever give out. And you see what they've done. They've learned the principle that the Apostle Paul was trying to teach us in 1 Timothy 6 when he said, but godliness with contentment is great gain. You want to get more out of your life? You want to expand your life? That's how you do it. Godliness with contentment. Godliness is simply God-likeness. Now, I know some of you are going, wait a minute. How do you be like God? Well, if you read the New Testament tells us if we want to be like God, we need to love people, and we need to put them ahead of ourselves. We need to love people in such a way that it helps them out and put them ahead of ourselves. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his son. Jesus put you and I above himself when he took all of our sin upon himself, and he took it all the way to the cross for our benefit. For our benefit. It was the finished work on the cross that gives us life, that saved us. He put us ahead of himself. And if you want to be like God, you got to love people in a way that helps them and put them ahead of yourself. And then you need to be content with what you have. You need to be content with what you have. He's not saying you got to give up what you have. He's not saying you're not going to get any more. He says, just stop pursuing stuff all the time. Be content with what you have. And he tells us why. He says, for we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it. There is not going to be a U-Haul behind your hearse. You're not taking anything with you, people. But what he's trying to show you is the fact that when you came into this world, when you had nothing to offer, you were so loved and you were so cherished. You are so much more valuable than your stuff. But why as adults do we spend all of our time trying to find value in our stuff? That we think we're something because of what we have. And he says, you're just missing the whole point of being content in life. Do you know there's 3 times in life that you're empty-handed? When you come into the world, when you leave this world, and when you come to Christ. See, because Jesus doesn't need any of our stuff. In fact, he says, the stuff that you've been putting your hope in, let it go. And come to me empty-handed, and I'll give you what I want you to have. So the question I have for you this morning is, what are you going to leave behind? Because we're all going to leave our stuff. But other than your stuff, what are you really going to leave behind? And if that question becomes the forefront of your life, if that's what you live your life based on what you're going to leave behind, you're going to find what true contentment is all about. And he continues, he says, but if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Now, he's not saying you got to get rid of everything. What he's talking about is the fact that if you've got the necessities of life, isn't that enough? That's what he's talking about. He's actually echoing what Jesus talked about in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 6, when Jesus was talking to the people and they were all worried. He was going, why do you worry about what you wear? Why do you worry about what you would eat? He goes, why are you doing that? And the reason why he was talking to that, because that was their main concerns. Today, he could be looking at you and going, why do you worry about getting a new car? Why do you worry about getting a bigger house? And he says in Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all this will be added. He's saying God's going to take care of you, okay? And when you seek after him, you'll actually be content with all that you have. That's what he's talking about. He's saying be content with what you have. And Paul knows what he's talking about. You got to remember that before Paul became a Christian, he was a very, very wealthy Pharisee. He had a lot of power, a lot of money, a lot of influence. And when he started to follow Christ, he gave all of that up. And he started planting churches all around the Mediterranean rim. He learned that it's not about his stuff. He wanted to leave more than that behind. He left life change behind. We're talking about him 2,000 years later because of all he's done. And in Philippians, he told us the secret of contentment. In Philippians 4:12 and 13, he says, I've had it all. I've had everything. I've had it all. And then I've had absolutely nothing. And the secret to being content is I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I bet you didn't think that verse had anything to do with contentment, did you? But what Paul is saying, guess what, guys? When you're where God wants you, doing what God wants you to do, you're in the right place. That's what life is all about. When you seek after God and you're where he wants you to be, doing what he wants to do, life doesn't get any better than that. That's what he's talking about. And then he starts talking about where everybody goes a little wrong. And he says, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. Now, he's not saying don't be successful. He's not saying don't climb the corporate ladder. He's not saying don't be rich. What he's saying is don't be rich for the sake of being rich. Don't pursue wealth so you can be wealthy. He's saying if your life is all about the Benjamins, you're right where Satan wants you. And he is setting traps, and pretty soon your life that you think is going along real good, you're going to plunge into the ravine. He says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Now read this. He says the love of money is the root. Not just money is the root. Money is not the root. He's saying how you look at money, how you feel about money. That is the root of all kinds of evil. And again, he's echoing what Jesus was talking about in the Sermon on the Mount. In Matthew 6, when Jesus says, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve both God and money. And the reason why is to pursue God takes you in one direction, to pursue money takes you in another direction. You just can't do it. Now, most of us here don't think this really applies to us because we would sit here and go, I like money, but I don't love money. I like having money, and, if you offer me more money, I'm going to take more money, but I don't love money. Who loves money, right? And Paul's saying, there's some people who really love money. And the only way that you're going to know if you love money is what would you do for it? What would you do for it? I mean, think about this. What would you do for love? Huh? What would you do for love? I know there's nothing I wouldn't do for the ones that I love. I'd move heaven and earth to make sure that my loved ones are okay, that they're fine. Well, he's saying that some of you would do that for money. I mean, what would you do? Would you change your priorities for money? Have you ever thought, man, I would love to give. I'd love to tithe to the church. I'd love to give so much more to the church. I mean, I really want to do something, but I got to pay for all my stuff. Or I'd love to get involved. I love seeing those stories. I love seeing how those people are helping. I love being a part of that. I want to get involved. I want to do this, but I got to manage all my stuff. Or I would love my kids. I know my kids should be in their age-appropriate teaching. I know they should be there. I should be in their small groups. They should be here on Wednesday nights. I know that is so important. But they've got so much stuff on their plate. There's so many other extracurricular activities that they're pursuing that, they just can't get to it. And that's what Paul is saying, that some people are eager for money, eager for stuff, eager for other things, that they've wandered from the faith. We see this all the time. Other things become more important than God. And he says, when you do that, they pierce themselves and they have many griefs. And unfortunately, we see that as well. My kid went off the deep end when they went to college. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I know I didn't get him involved, but I just can't believe they did that. We're in ruin. We don't love each other anymore because we've been pursuing all these other things. And he's saying, if anything is above God, you're going to find yourself in trouble. And that's why he says, but you, man of God, flee from all this. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. And pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. See, what you're trying to do is find things to make yourself content. That's why you keep pursuing all these other things. And Paul is saying that when you find God and you pursue after him, you're finally going to find the contentment you've been looking for. That's what it's all about. And then he tells us what to do. He says, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain. And again, most of us just kind of skim past this when we read in the Bible, because we're not rich, are we? I mean, we know rich people. I mean, everybody knows a rich person, don't we? We can point out, dude, somebody says you're rich, you go, no, but I can show you who's rich. We all know rich people. We all know rich people. Well, here's a news flash for everybody. If you drove here today, if you have a roof over your head, if when you got up, you got to choose what you would wear, if you've got a cell phone, you are so wealthy in the eyes of the world. You have more money than most anybody else in the world. You are wealthy. But that's not even what he's talking about. What he's talking about, for those of you who are rich, he's saying that for those of you who have money to go buy more stuff with, that's what he's talking about. He's saying that after you tithe, after you pay your mortgage, after you pay all your bills, after you buy all your groceries, you still have money left over that you can go buy more stuff. He's saying, you're rich. And he says, don't be arrogant. Don't think that makes you better than anybody else. And he says, don't put your hope in that. The richest, wisest man to ever live, King Solomon, he said this in Proverbs 30. He said, God, just give me what I need every day, because I don't want to wake up one day and say, who's the Lord? Because I put my hope in something else other than you. And that's what he's saying. Don't put your hope in what you have. Don't put your hope in the fact that you can go out and buy all this extra stuff. He says, put your hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Bet you didn't think that was in the Bible, did you? See, God wants you to enjoy your stuff. See, God wants you to have stuff. He just doesn't want your stuff to have you. He wants you to be content with what you have instead of being discontent because you're always worrying about what you don't have. And then he goes on, he says, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Why would you have to tell people that are rich to be generous? Well, the reason why is because when you have all this extra, you know what happens? You get caught up in it. And you're always so busy doing so many other things that sometimes you just forget about other people. And that's all he's saying. I want you to be rich. I want you to have things. I just don't want you to forget about the other people. I want you to be willing to share what you have. He says, in this way, you will lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age. You might not be able to take any of your stuff with you, but you can have stuff there waiting for you. That's what he's talking about. There are rewards in heaven. Do you not want to stand before God one day? And he says, well done, my good and faithful servant. I saw all that I blessed you with, and I saw how you blessed so many people. You changed so many lives. He says, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. You want to expand your life? You want to get more out of life? That's how you do it. You expand your generosity. That you love people in such a way that it helps them out. And you put them ahead of yourself. And you make a difference in this world. That's what we've all been called to do. We've all been called to do this. And there's two things that you need to do if you're going to make that happen. And you already know the answers. You can probably fill in the blanks by yourselves because we've been talking about it for the last 15 minutes. First thing you got to do, you got to serve. You got to serve. If you're not serving somewhere, guess who's missing out? You. That's who's missing out. See, God wants you to understand, I'm not asking you to do something just for other people, but it's also for you. We have so many different places to volunteer, so many different places you can help somebody do something, and it doesn't mean you have to be here every week. It doesn't mean you have to be here every other week. It doesn't mean you have to be here once a month. We've got plenty of places for you to get involved, but start. Don't leave without stopping by guest service and say, I'm ready to get involved. I need to do something. I'm ready to change my life. You got to start serving someplace. And the second thing you got to do is you got to give. You got to give. It's that simple. Everything we have, God has blessed us with. Everything we have, God has blessed us with. Now, you heard me talking before when we were taking our offering. I always say that we're ready to receive our tithes and offerings. There's two different things. They're not the same thing. See, a tithe is what you owe, okay? An offering is what you sow. A tithe is what you owe, an offering is what you sow. You got to realize what God said is the first 10% of everything that you and I make, first 10% is his. I know some of you, that's a shock right now. You're going, what are you talking about? God says you live off 90. I get the first 10. That's his. And he says, bring that 10 into the storehouse. That's how he created. Don't get mad at me, get mad at God, okay? That's how he did it. Hey, he could have said 50-50. He could have said 90 him and 10 you. He didn't, okay? Let's face it. So he said, first 10. That's why we have this building. That's why we have this staff. That's why we are taking care of so many people through our food pantry and what we do. Is because he said, bring it in the storehouse, and then you're supposed to take care of everybody else. Well, the offering is what is over and above that. That's for the rich people. After you've paid all your stuff, your mortgage, your tithe, your bills, all that, and you have more stuff to go buy more stuff. He said, take some of that and be an offering. Because, see, when you give it to me and you put it into my hands, I can expand it and help so many people. And that's what we're doing. In fact, Caroline, would you come out? Because we've got a way of showing that just what putting money into God's hand, it works.
Thank you. Absolutely,
Good.
Rob.
Caroline,
Thank
she
you.
did a great job.
Hey, guys. Thank you. Okay. So here for you today, I have, well, it's not for you. It's actually for Rob.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Oh, don't
That's
drop.
right. All I do is roadie anyway. So,
So that you guys, thank you so much. I just have the best job ever. This is amazing. But I wanted to show you today $20. Okay, raise your hand if you think you spent maybe about $20 at the grocery store this week. Anybody?
I spent that at Chick-fil-A.
I know. Well, that's because your kids don't eat on the kids' meal anymore. My kids still eat on the kids' meal. I don't want a kids' meal. You're eating a kids' meal. $20 at the grocery store. We spend way more than $20 at the grocery store, right, ladies and gentlemen? But let me just tell you, after we've talked about tithes and offerings, some of you, don't lie, you're in church, might be saying, oh, they're talking about tithes and offerings. Oh, they just want our money. No, we want your heart. We want your heart. And we know that like the Bible says, you know, where your heart is, your treasure is. That is exactly what we're talking about. So we wanted to show you what $20 could do. I used to be a math teacher. I love me some math. Math people in the house, anybody? You know what's better than math? God math, okay? God can take something like this. When you give, you've done your tithes, you've given to the Met Church, but when you give an offering to help out, for $20, you could buy groceries at the grocery store and help us out. But instead, if you would give $20 to help out, do you know what God could do because of the connections we have? Look at what God can do with $20. I'm so glad I have Rob. He's way stronger than me, y'all.
No.
Look at this. You guys, we have connections with amazing people in our community, and $20 can get all of this. So you're thinking, I really want to do good, Caroline. I forget. Me too. I forget stuff too. I'm thinking maybe you could set it on your phone on the reminder, maybe on the 20th of every month. You can text help out. Look at this little page. We got a little program in your handout today. It talks about help out. The reason we wanted to make this, help out is its own 501c3. We talked about it in the video. It is separate from the church because you could actually take this to work. Some of your companies, your corporations, they match donations. Well, they can't do that to a church, but they can do it to help out. Do you know if everybody that came to church this weekend here at the Met or watching us online gave $20 and they committed to do that every month, we could come back on this stage next year and we will have raised almost $500,000, y'all. We couldn't fit that on the stage, Rob.
No.
There's no way. So we're super grateful for y'all partnering. First of all, let's give it up for our leadership, y'all. My husband, Ryan, and I have been a part of the Met for over 15 years, and Pastor Bill and Rob, Mary, Scott, the whole group, they're the real deal. They have a heart for people, and I have the best job ever, and I'm so blessed. We would love to get you connected with our help out, with our relief team, with our food pantry. We've got some tables outside under the little porte-cochere thing. We would love to have you serve in June when we do our community relief. We'd love to have you serve at the food pantry because we have seen God change lives, not just the people that we help. He has blessed us even more so. Amen. So thank you so much, you guys. Thank you, Rob, for having me out. God bless you guys.
Thanks. It's because of your giving that we're actually doing so much, reaching so many people, not just outside the walls, but also around the world. Some of you might have participated yesterday. I see some of you that are here. Good, you're not wearing your shirt. Some did the last service, and I was wondering, did you wash it? You know what I mean? I was just... But we did our run for kids. Those of you who don't know, for the last 6-7 years, we've been supporting an orphanage in Uganda, and we had our big run yesterday. I came in last, as always, and so, hey, come walk with me next time. At least we'll have fun. So anyway, be a part of that. But we're so excited because Florence Dongle, she's one of the co-founders of the God Care School in our orphanage, and she's here with us, and she just wants to say thank you. So.
Thank you, guys. We're so honored that Pastor Florence is here with us this weekend, and I got update on the run.
Oh, good.
And they think we've made $14,000. How awesome is that?
Yes.
They're still counting in. Go buy some more jewelry. They count all of that part as well. So we would love for you guys to come be a part of anything that we have here. But Florence, do you have a special message for our friends?
Thank you, pastors. Thank you, Med Church, for meeting. Notice meeting our needs. Because of you, we can do great things, and people think that we are great, but we are great because behind us, we have great people like the Met Church. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for taking good care of us. We have no words, but we only say thank you.
If you're wondering how you can help, at the Uganda table right outside, so we have lots of profiles or kids who still need to be sponsored. So it's $35 a month. Don't you wish you could have $35 a month for your kids? That's what it costs to sponsor a kid. So if you are not, our church actually sponsors over 300. So I know a lot of you guys already sponsor, but if you don't, that's what you can do. You can just check with them, and we would love to have you help. And thank you guys. Thanks for supporting us.
Good. Once again, guys, we just thank you so much for just all you do. Y'all are truly making a difference, and we appreciate it. Let me just pray, and we can get out of here. Dear Heavenly Father, we do thank you so much for the fact that everything we have comes from you, that you have blessed each one of us in mighty, mighty ways, and we just thank you for always being there for us and watching over us. And God, we just do want to be a light to this world.
Help us to leave this place with the energy and the focus to go out and shine your light, to make a difference. Just like you made a difference in our lives, we want to be a part of making a difference in somebody else's life. So God, just use each one of us. We thank you for all that you do. We thank you for all of your blessings. And we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. We've got a prayer team up here if you want to talk to somebody about something. If you're not serving somewhere, make sure you go do that and visit those tables. And again, thank you so much. Be back next weekend. Bill has got a very, very special Mother's Day message, so bring your mother. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching online with us. If you have any questions or prayer requests, please contact us so that we can follow up with you this week by visiting metchurch.com. We look forward to seeing you again next week.